Welcome to one of the more interesting and exciting road trips we've ever taken on the Fore Golfers Network and Michigan Golf Live, as we landed in Carlsbad, California at the world headquarters of Callaway Golf. We're going to take you behind the scenes of this wonderful global company that started 35 years ago and is impacting golfers in more ways than ever before. Most of our time is going to be spent right inside that building, so let's go in and take a look. If you pay careful attention to televised tour coverage, you know that a fresh face popped up not all that long ago.
Yeah.
You're watching CBS, and here she is. Amanda, it's good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Live and in person here in this beautiful studio.
How cool is this studio?
This is pretty good. There's a reason that Callaway is the market leader, and this sort of thoughtfulness is one of those reasons.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's the constant want to innovate, even when you don't maybe feel the need to innovate. You know, we're still the only ones doing any live show like Callaway Live, but we never want to settle for just, or get comfortable, I guess is more the right word. Harry's always talking about not getting comfortable. So the show was doing great. I don't think anyone thought we needed, a facelift on the studio, but we did it anyway. And I think you're right. It's just a perfect example of why we continue to keep developing.
This is a fantastic setting, and you've got a story to tell.
I do?
Yeah, maybe you've told it before, but everybody out here who has seen you on TV is wondering, where did she come from?
Yeah.
How did it work? And what is she doing at Callaway? So give us the nutshell version of the Amanda story.
Yeah, I kind of fell into golf a number of years ago. I went to school in New York, majored in broadcast journalism, so always knew I wanted to be in sports journalism, but thought for sure I just wanted to do football sideline full time. That was the dream. Living in New York, it's kind of hard to live in New York when you're not making a ton of money, and was grinding away up there. Got a phone call from the PGA Tour in 2011, and they said, would you be interested in coming down for an audition? And I said, okay. It was probably 3 feet of snow in New York at that point. I fly down to Jacksonville, Florida. It's 80 degrees and sunny. I call my mom on the way. I said, I think I'm going to take this job before I even got to the interview. Well,
part of that process of continuing to grow in the industry is earning the respect of the players that you're covering. I'm guessing that didn't happen on day one until they started to interact with you and learn that you were paying attention, you were listening. Here's a little shock for everybody. There are some horrible interviewers out there. And thankfully, with the first time I saw you, I was like, hey, I think she was listening to their answers. For some reason, even on a national level, that's a rare trait for somebody to pay attention and ask a follow-up based on what was actually said to them versus what they had already scripted.
Yeah, I mean, it's more difficult than maybe it appears, and I think a lot of people watching at home, that sounds like such a simple thing, just listen to what the person's saying to you.
It never happens.
Well, you have someone in your ear too. It's not just you, it's not just me and you talking right now, right? If you're Dustin Johnson or you're Mark Leishman or you're whoever you're interviewing at that time, if you're trying to listen to that answer, you have someone in your ear saying...
I have voices in my head anyway.
And I do too, so it's like 3 or 4 people at a time, But, you have other things happening at the same time. And for instance, like I'll be having in my ear, I'll know, okay, I get 2 questions, let's say. With let's say Mark Leishman right now, he's in contention right now, so he's just on the top of my head. But I'll say, okay, I get 2 or 3 questions with him, and I'm thinking about what those 2 or 3 things are going to be based on maybe he just changed coaches, maybe he just changed his grip, maybe, so there are things that you kind of want to hit, but also you have to pay attention to what they're saying to you as well. And you kind of have to balance, okay, is it worth me throwing out that second topic I want to talk about to ask a follow-up on his first answer, or do we just completely switch gears, or do we even have time for this, and are they yelling in my ear, that's it, throw it out to 14. So there's a lot going on, and I think sometimes it can appear disjointed with your questions. Why didn't you ask that follow-up? Sometimes you just have to make that judgment call. Is it worth it to throw away something you want to really get out of them to ask the follow-up? Or do you just try to act like you're having a natural conversation with someone and ask that follow-up?
Well, yeah, you would love to have 2 comfy chairs to sit down and have a 20-minute conversation with someone.
A 3-part special, right?
It doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
And I think for a lot of viewers, they don't realize what is happening in your ear. It's a unique world in live television where there's countdowns and then there's prompts and where you're going to toss it to next. You're very smooth at handling all of that.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks so much, Amanda, for joining us. By the way, she and I talked for about 20 minutes, and you can hear the entire conversation if you go online to foregolfersnetwork.com. Now, we're going to continue our tour of the inside look at Callaway's World Headquarters in between hitting shots out here at Torrey Pines. So I'm going to throw things over to my co-host, my son Bo. He'll take you into the world of Callaway golf balls, and I'm going to figure out what this guy's doing here for a while.
All right, well, we are continuing with our tour of the Callaway headquarters in California. We're here with Jason Finley, who's the Director of Brand Management for Callaway, and we got some golf balls right here. And Jason, when I walk into a pro shop, or even if I'm just looking online on Amazon, there are literally thousands of golf balls to choose from. Lots of technologies going on nowadays. So what is inside of these, the Chrome Soft line, that's going to change the game?
So the real key for us, and starting with the regular Chrome Soft, is the dual soft S-core technology. And what that allows us to do is make a golf ball that's tremendously soft and has a great feeling, yet still is fast. So that's going to deliver the ball speed that you want. And it's also going to help make it a low spinning golf ball where you want it on the full shots, and then it'll have a lot of spin around the green where you want more spin. So there's parts of the bag, we call it spin separation, where you want less spin and parts where you want more spin. So really delivering on that.
How has the golf ball changed from when it first started to now? Like you said, I mean, there's so much more that's happening.
Yeah, there's, the development, and we've seen it at our plant that we have in Chicopee, Massachusetts they've been making golf balls there for, almost 100 years. So we've seen it all kind of through there. And just the advancement in materials and processes and science and the way you manufacture golf balls has changed tremendously, and the tolerances that we're able to get and the consistency we're able to get is significantly better, and we're able to make them faster and durable and not be high spin where they were with a wound ball in the past. So, and I think the biggest change has been the way you can make a ball for the best players in the world that is doesn't have a lot of spin. Like, that's been an issue in the past.
That's kind of what I wanted to hit on next, which was the idea of, for someone like me who's going out and playing golf, I love to golf, but I'm not professional at all.
Yeah.
How do you make a golf ball that can cater both to the amateur and to the professional, provide each a unique experience? Yeah,
so the general characteristics of what a professional is looking for is the same as what an everyday golfer is, right? So they're looking for lower spin off the driver. That's going to allow them to hit it farther. It's the same thing we design into our drivers to be low spin. But at the same time, you want control on the shots where you want more spin. So you're doing the same thing with the golf ball, but the real benefit to the everyday golfer, even with a tour level golf ball, is you can get the maximum amount of control around the green. So golf ball is probably the one category where you really are getting a better performing product as you go up in price. You're getting what you're paying for, right? So some golfers would say, well, I'm not good enough to play a tour level golf ball. They will play better golf, most likely in all cases, with this tour level golf ball, because they're going to get more benefits and performance out of that golf ball. They may happen to be twice as much money or 3 times as much money in some cases, but you're going to get more out of that golf ball. So at each kind of step in our range, there will be trade-offs you will make to the performance of each ball. So really it's devising a range of products that at each price point is the maximum performance that you can deliver in that ball.
That was a look at the Callaway golf balls. Now I'm going to throw it back over to Dad for some more behind-the-scenes fun.
There's nothing quite like going behind the scenes, the belly of the beast, the mothership, or whatever analogy you want to use. Here at Callaway Golf, Dave Neville is the man in charge of brand management, and what a couple of years it's been for your team. What's it like to be on this meteoric rise to the top of the industry?
It's really, really exciting. I've been in the golf industry for almost 10 years and never had a year like this. And we got to go back a few years to when Chip Brewer came to Callaway, and he really has turned the company around. And he started with product and making really high-performing products. And he knew if he started with that, with R&D, the rest of the pieces would fall into place. And it's taken a few years, but this year's just been tremendous. Epic obviously has been the #1 driver, #1 fairways. It's been fun to be around. It really has.
In our world, people always want to know, what is it like at the creation point, and you're working years in advance.
Yes.
But there's a reason you and I are sitting in this green room area and not in your office, because
Yes.
your office has some still to be announced product in it. How far out do you work?
Well, we're working, from a marketing team, maybe 6 months to a year out, but R&D could be working 3 or 4 years out. So take jailbreak technology, which is part of the Epic driver, probably the key technology in the Epic driver. They worked on that for about 4 years. It really started with the early gravity core drivers, and they were doing some testing on the driver without the actual gravity core in there. So there was a tube that connected the sole and crown together, and they started seeing some really interesting results. It was stiffening the body, and it was providing some extra ball speed, and they launched an advanced research project for that. But just because you launch that project doesn't mean that it's ready to go within 6 months or a year. It actually took 4 years, different configurations. They were trying different tubes, titanium, carbon, steel, 3 tubes, 2 tubes, putting them all different locations till they got it optimized for the Epic driver, which was 2 titanium tubes behind the face but not actually touching the face. So there's always stuff going on. We talk about, we put our pencils down, but R&D never does. They keep going.
It has to blow your mind. Maybe it doesn't. It does mind what it used to be like, where you couldn't simulate all of this in software and see how it's going to perform in real life. You had to actually go and build everything. How has that technology helped reshape the way R&D can take place?
The simulation software is huge. It has really reduced the product cycle and time, and allowed for a lot of these advancements that you're seeing. We get dinged all the time for 1 year life cycle, 2 year life cycle, rolling out a lot of products. When you have the computational power that we have and 100+ person R&D team, they're working in parallel paths on multiple projects at one time. So that's why we're able to release products that are better in a shorter period of time than, say, you could do even in 2000 or the late 90s.
It is rocket science.
It literally is, yes.
Our tour inside the mothership of Callaway in Carlsbad continues in this awesome Odyssey putting lab. The fine measurement of data. I don't know how many decimal points you're going these days, but it certainly is amazing to go 4 or 5 decimal points down when it comes to every little measurable in the putting stroke. What are you measuring?
So we're measuring different things. It depends on what we're testing, but a lot of the research we're doing is on roll, right? Trying to get the ball to roll forward more quickly, get into that rolling state sooner. So then we'll measure at different lofts and different kind of release points, the kind of launch angle and spin basically. Of the golf ball, and what we're trying to do is create either inserts or face treatments in the case of like our Toulon milled putters that get the ball rolling more quickly. We've got a putting robot that we can use obviously to simulate a putting stroke, and obviously a robot's very repeatable, so it's great way for us to get data. We have different systems to capture not only what the putter is doing but the ball. So we have a Quintix system, we have a SAM system. And we do a lot of sort of data capture here. If we're testing a new insert and we want to see how it rolls compared to others or non-inserted putters or new face treatments, that's one of the things we do here. We can move the robot out of the way and do the same with players. So it just gives us a lot of ability to do a lot of kind of advanced research in putting.
I'm holding in my hands the putter that I use. So just speak to a little bit of the technology and the innovation that went into this beauty.
Sure, yeah. So this is our number 7 shape, which has been one of our most popular shapes on tour for a number of years now, and also in the marketplace. This one's a little different version now. We added this S neck. So this changes the putter's dynamics a little bit. So most mallets with double bend shafts, which is more typical, are face balanced. So if you rest the putter on your finger, the face will point straight to the sky. That works really well if you have a straight back, straight through type of stroke, or if you're trying to reduce the amount of face rotation that you have during your stroke. But this S neck provides some toe hang, so that if you rest it on your finger, you can see that the toe hangs down. This has been a very popular trend on tour recently. And it's kind of created a new category of putters, which are these mallets, which have benefits of higher MOI than blades, more ability to create different alignment aids than blades typically would have. but with some toe hang, so in the stroke they behave a little bit more like a blade. So for players that are used to a blade or want that feeling of the toe opening and closing more, they can get that now in a mallet. So this new shape, it's really kind of a new category of putters is emerging. This putter features our micro hinge insert. So we talked about the testing that we do on trying to generate forward roll as quickly as possible. So this is an insert that we introduced this year that allows the ball to get rolling more quickly, and that creates a more stable roll, helps keep the ball on line more, and creates better distance control.
Well, just so you know, if for some reason the robot ever goes down, I'm available to replicate.
Our guy?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That'll be
Sales
handy.
might be impacted slightly at that point.
That's good to know. We need a backup sometimes,
Yes.
if we have any mechanical problems or the power's out or something.
I am an expert in mechanical problems when it comes to putting.
Okay,
Yes,
well.
there's a little bit of user error involved, but it's not because of the implement in my hands. I love these things. You guys do great work. Thanks so much. We've got just one feature left during our visit to the Callaway World Headquarters, and there's only one person who can appropriately handle this topic, because we're going to examine another thing that Callaway does better than everybody else in the world of golf: social media interaction. It's time for Bo to introduce you to #Chad and AJ.
Chad, I'm going to start with you. You're the social media director, from what I understand. You were kind of heading up that part of the world there.
Yep.
What are you doing when you log into Twitter, Facebook, Instagram? When you're sitting down and logging in, writing a new post, what are you trying to put out there? What are you looking to do with that platform?
Yeah, I think what we really do, that we take a lot of time and attention and pride in doing, is making sure that we're providing a unique experience on each different platform. So customizing the content we put out on Instagram stories, Facebook, and Twitter to where that they are native to that platform, so that that they're going to perform the best on that platform. Because everybody's always scrolling through their phones. It's so hard to get anyone's attention nowadays that it's important that you're not just blasting out the same photo with the same caption on every channel, but like taking into account what types of media perform best on each channel, what do people respond to best. We have a little bit of a different we speak a little bit differently on each channel based on like the demographics for that channel. So the overall message is the same, but the tone is slightly different depending on if we're talking on Facebook, which is primarily our kind of older generation, versus Instagram, which is our youngest demographics in terms of the channels that we're on. We the message is the same, but our tone kind of changes a little bit from platform to platform just to cater to that audience. So
right, you like to curse on Instagram a lot.
Yeah, like
whether it's Facebook, you want to be a little more respectful.
Do a lot of cursing on Instagram. A lot more emojis on Instagram.
Yep.
Right.
And then AJ, you are, from what I understand, more on the digital creative side of things.
Yes.
How are you working with the social media side, and what are you putting out? What are you creating? Tell us a little bit about your side of the equation here.
Yeah, so Chad and I work really closely because a lot of the content that I produce or I work to produce also is blasted out on all of our social channels, like whether it's a video or a podcast or some sort of graphic. So like we work closely in that sense that, all right, this is going to be, he's going to distribute on the channels, and he's going to kind of like control the messaging and how it's portrayed on the channel. So it's like, all right, so what can we create to really kind of fit any kind of need that we have? So, but on the digital side, I'm like, what I think about when I'm creating something or when I have an idea is like either what's never been done before, what have we never done before? What have I seen that's cool, that's maybe trendy, but maybe it's like a little ahead of the trend, so it's not like kind of played out yet. So I'm constantly being inspired by things I see other companies do, or just kind of I'm inspired by kind of any sort of medium, you know what I mean? Whether it's photography or some really cool content, like the Callaway Create program we have now, like that kind of content inspires me. It's really unique, and there's a lot of people who can't create some of the things that the Callaway creators are making. So, we're just looking to give the most unique, really just platform for everything that we create for all our consumers to take in.
Yeah, I mean, we want our consumers to experience the Callaway brand way differently than they experience any other golf OEM on social and digital. So
yeah, and I think we're doing that though.
Yeah.
You know, like the last couple of years, we've really kind of, at least from here, we've widened the gap in terms of content creation as it relates to providing like utility for consumers, like educating them on the products in a cool way, in a simple way, in a clean way. So I think we've kind of separated ourselves from other companies. Not to say they don't do a great job, because a lot of them do a great job, but just in terms of like the creativeness, right? The creativity that we bring. That's kind of the gap widener there.
It's hard to put into words everything we have seen in Carlsbad at the Callaway World Headquarters, and there are some areas that are absolutely fascinating, but cameras aren't allowed into because it's proprietary stuff that has yet to go public. Let me say this. The team that works here together is doing amazing things kind of behind the scenes so that when you get Callaway gear in your hands out on the golf course, it's for optimal performance. I can't say enough nice things about the experience, the team that we've met, and now what's left is you putting Callaway in your bag.